In a world dominated by smartphones, AI chatbots, and cars that can drive themselves, sometimes it just feels good to take a step back and appreciate a pure, unfiltered driving experience. And what better way to do that than behind the wheel of this Lamborghini Gallardo Superleggera. My name is John with Blackbird Productions, and today we'll be reviewing this nearly 13-year-old Lamborghini, which is truly a world apart from any modern car on the road today. And we'll see how it holds up in 2025.
This Gallardo Superleggera stands out among many special editions in the Gallardo family, and it's one of only two that I'd personally consider owning. But overall, as one of Lamborghini's best-selling models, the Gallardo has earned its reputation as one of the best supercars out there, and for good reason. It's not only reliable and unique, especially in this color, but it's also pretty quick. The Gallardo Superleggera packs a powerful 5.2-liter V10 engine, a platform that continues in Lamborghini's lineup today. This V10 also offers a neck-breaking 570 horses and 400 pound-feet of torque. Speaking of model generations, there are some important distinctions to be made there that I'll be covering when we deep dive into the exterior. But for now, just know that there are two generations of Gallardo out there, and this Superleggera is considered a second-generation Gallardo. Handling in the Gallardo Superleggera is very composed, as most Lamborghinis are. But when it comes to suspension comfort, it's definitely on the stiffer side, as you might imagine from a rather raw and unfiltered driving experience. It also sits pretty low to the ground, as a supercar should. Now with that said, this car does come with a suspension lift system. You know, to help avoid that dreaded scraping problem that all of us car enthusiasts dread. And I know some folks that might not have the opportunity to drive one of these cars or even own one might think that this is a novel thing with the suspension lift system, especially for this car. But the fact of the matter is, this car has some very, very expensive components, and I feel that the addition of a suspension lift system for this car is absolutely necessary. I can't imagine what it might cost to replace the front lip of this car if it were damaged, being that the front lip is entirely carbon fiber. Not to mention the bottom skid plates of this car are also carbon fiber, so if you bottom out in this car, like say on the track or something like that, or maybe you're just reckless driving, the bill to replace those components are next to immeasurable, for the average person at least. The exterior is something truly special, especially in the second generation Gallardo Superleggera. But for the uninitiated, this is an LP Gallardo, which are said to be more reliable and stylish than the outgoing pre-LP models. The pre-LP models have those squared off tail lights, and the front headlights are a little bit longer, which look odd to say the least, but nonetheless, this is how you tell the two generations apart. When it comes to the exterior details, you're getting a decent amount of carbon fiber goodies in all the right places. This Gallardo Superleggera is equipped with carbon fiber side skirts, a prominent rear wing, and an aggressive rear diffuser, strategically placed to enhance both aesthetics and performance in this specific model. Flanking both sides of the car are two prominent engine scoops, or I guess you would call them engine scoops. They're more like slits. But anyway, they're also complemented by strategically placed vents lined throughout the engine cover, designed to keep this V10 cool. And fun fact, something I didn't know about the engine cover was that it actually comes completely off, as opposed to other Gallardos out there that include struts. Lamborghini did a lot of weight savings for this specific car, but this one was just so bizarre to me. When the owner took it off, like when we were at the car meet that I shot some of this footage at, I was perplexed, to say the least. Mainly because I was just thinking, like, someone could just like take that and just like hit you over the head with and just run off or something. Or they could just like use it as a shield. But what can I say, truly bizarre Lamborghini engineering we got here. Well, now it's time for the intermission. And if you don't know what the intermission is, stick around and find out. And if you're enjoying the video so far, let me know by hitting the like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I create new car reviews like this every month. Thank you in advance, and enjoy the intermission. The interior of this Gallardo Superleggera is absolutely insane, and if you love carbon fiber as much as I do, you'll be getting the full treatment in here. Starting with the doors, you get full glossy carbon fiber door cards. Don't really see that on a lot of vehicles, but you got it in this one. You also get some unique weight-saving quirks with this car, like the fact that instead of a traditional door handle, there's a felt loop with a carbon fiber insert running across it, and it almost looks like a little carbon fiber jewel. And honestly, I'm willing to bet that there are some custom Superleggeras out there with a jewel instead of just this carbon fiber bit in the middle here. Truly insane, and it only continues. Moving to the center stack, the carbon fiber treatment continues with a beautifully wrapped parking brake and steering wheel, both complemented by an Alcantara dash and some seriously quality stitching. Every detail in this interior screams lightweight performance while still maintaining that high-end Lamborghini feel. Practicality, however, takes a back seat. Well, if there was one. If you're planning to take a road trip in this car that requires more than a single carry-on case, forget about it. The front trunk is the only storage space available in this car, and it's barely big enough for a small bag. With no rear trunk and no back seats to stash extra items, storage takes a big hit here, and this is the perfect segue into the cons. Starting with storage, there honestly isn't much to speak of here, and I really wish there was at least a bit more space in the front trunk, but as it stands, it's pretty limited in this car. The second thing is the price. And when you're buying a special car like this, you're also flirting with some extra special pricing. Well-kept examples of the Gallardo Superleggera can easily set you back over $200,000. And if you're lucky enough to find a manual Superleggera, specifically in the second generation Gallardo, I've seen some sell for over $300,000. So this leads me to say that although this car is super cool, the reality is that there are plenty of other used exotic supercars you could spend this kind of money on. But for us common folks, just know that this Superleggera sits on the higher end of the spectrum as an ultra rare supercar.
Now it's time for the rapid fire round, and that includes my favorite feature, something I'd change, and advice for an aspiring owner.
All right, favorite feature. And this isn't necessarily a feature per se, but more of an ability, and that is the ability to service the car yourself. And you could say with the rise of technology and just the fact that cars are just getting more complex these days, I think this feature, or ability rather, is a must for a car like this. Servicing this car in particular and just keeping up with the maintenance intervals yourself could potentially save you thousands in Lamborghini service costs. So next, something I'd change, and honestly, when I wrote this script, I was really thinking hard about this particular section of the rapid fire round, and honestly, I was completely stumped and I couldn't really think about what I'd change. I guess the only thing I would change is maybe the storage situation, but then again, this is a supercar, albeit a purpose-built supercar for the track and just hardcore cruising type of stuff. So the fact that it doesn't really have a lot of storage is sort of expected in this type of car. So if you own a Lamborghini, or maybe you might even know a little bit more about this Superleggera than I do, let me know in the comments something that you might change. All right, advice for future owners or aspiring owners. This is a very special car, and I feel that it requires special care in the right hands, because you're essentially driving around a piece of Lamborghini history. So my advice is don't abuse this car by flooding it with aftermarket junk or insane power tunes. I know some people like to turbocharge these cars, and I don't know if it's a popular thing to do on Superleggeras specifically, but I know it is pretty popular amongst just Gallardos in general. My advice is just don't do that. Just keep it very pure and instead keep it as stock as possible. So if you do decide to sell it down the road, you can get top dollar for it while handing the torch off to another Lamborghini enthusiast to enjoy. So like I've mentioned throughout this review, this is a very special car. And I'm so grateful to the owner for allowing me to review the car and also taking the time out of his busy schedule to accommodate our time frame to film. Not to mention this Texas weather we've been having lately. We've just been having some very apocalyptic weather, to say the least, here in Texas. And shooting around this weather will always be an issue. but it was particularly an issue last month, which is part of the reason why this review is coming out a little late. So if you are watching this and you were anticipating on seeing a review last month, thank you so much for your patience. And I also wanted to again thank the owner for allowing me to review this car. If you have a cool car and you also live in the Dallas Metroplex area, let me know by shooting me an email, and if you're interested, we can arrange some dates to film your car for a review on the channel. And with that, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you so much for watching. This has been John with Blackbird Productions, and I'll see you in the next review.